Hey everyone, I'm Cody and I'm a marketing specialist here at QNAP, and I'm here with our product manager Deval. And today we wanted to talk with you guys about how you can use a QNAP NAS to facilitate a more productive workflow when your team is working remotely. Obviously, there are a lot of people going this route currently with COVID-19, but even in normal times, having workers remotely can save money on office space, or sometimes you might have employees who just aren't local to you. So we wanted to talk about this. And there are 3 challenges that we want to address regarding a remote work environment. And we'll have an intro and demo for each one. So first, we'll address the challenge of accessing your Office file server remotely. With everyone out of the office, your team will need a way to access the files they need from wherever they are. We'll address how your QNAP NAS can be accessed from anywhere. And secondly, we'll discuss the challenge of accessing your Office network from the outside. If there's a device or a server that one of your employees needs to access that's on the Office network, how do you get to that device when they're at home? And lastly, we're going to address the challenge of collaborating as a team when everyone is in a different location. How can your team easily work together and share files on various collaborative projects? And also, after each section, we will have a true-false trivia question with a prize for the winner. So the first person to answer correctly after the question is posted will be the winner. And one person can't win more than one prize, and your first response for a question is going to be what's counted. So if you say true, then false, we're going to count the true as your answer. And we'll just email the winners so we can get shipping info and send those prizes out. And additionally, we'll have a Q&A time at the end after the presentation, at which point we can address any questions you might have. So the first section that we're going over is how your team can have a file server to easily upload and download files even when they aren't in the office. And we use something we call myQNAPcloud to give accessibility to the NAS from anywhere over the internet. Basically, this will give the NAS a domain name so that users can simply input the domain name into their browser, and this will take them to the login screen. And if you have any concerns regarding various employees being able to access certain files, with each user you create, you can adjust the user permissions so that each user only has access to the folders that you want them to have access to. And if you have any concerns about the security of accessing a file server remotely, Deval is also going to be demoing for us how you can purchase and download SSL certificates for added connection security. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Deval for the demo.
Good morning, everybody. myQNAPcloud is an application that QNAP provides. It is to set up remote access to your NAS. So when you're not at the same location as the NAS is, and you still want to have access to the data stored on the NAS, QNAP really helps you, as it allows you to quickly download data from the NAS, or upload data to the NAS, or even share it to somebody. So set up. All right. So before we go ahead, I'm going to show my screen. So to set up myQNAPcloud, you have to log in to your NAS. So I'm going to open up QFinder. I'm going to open up my NAS. I'm going to log in with the admin login. You can use the admin login or another account who has an admin permission on your NAS. And now, to set up myQNAPcloud is an application that is pre-installed on your NAS. To set up that, you have to click on the 3 bars on the top left corner and click on myQNAPcloud. So if it's not set up, you will see a Get Started option. Just click on Get Started, click Start, and then just enter your myQNAPcloud email. If you don't have it, you can click on here to create a QNAP ID. And once logged in, you have to provide a unique name to your NAS that is no one else is using. So you can, that name should not have any special characters or spaces in the name. Okay, so I'm going to just say test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so it's available. So it's going to show you a green checkbox and hit next. So you can configure all these features like auto configuration. Because you're going to be remoting inside your NAS, you have to open ports in your router. And sometimes opening ports can get a little bit difficult. So to overcome that, we have provided something called auto router configuration. This allows you to, this QNAP will open ports automatically inside your router. It should be a compatible UPnP router, and it'll open that port for you. DDNS will give you, I'm going to show you what DDNS is. DDNS will allow you to give a name to your NAS, which we gave just before, so that you can access your device remotely with that name instead of remembering the public IP address. Published services, again, this will allow you to access the web GUI or other services. And myQNAPcloud link is, if you cannot open the port remotely, you can use myQNAPcloud link. Access control is just basically, it'll tell you if your device is public, so other QNAP users under myQNAPcloud can search your name if you want to share it with somebody. Hit next. It goes to configuration. We're going to skip that. I'm going to show you a registered device, which is my own device at home. And I'm going to log in here. Once it's registered, it just tells you that it's registered, and you can click finish. All right. So my device is registered already. So I'm going to click on my QNAPcloud. It's going to show an overview of how it's set up. So if everything is set up properly, you see all the green check boxes. As I mentioned, auto router configuration will allow you to open the ports on the router. So if you want, because QNAP does provide you other services like FTP service or SSH server or other VPN services, you can also open up other ports. You just check the box and click on apply to router, and apply the it'll go out and apply the port on the router without you having to log in inside the router at all.
So I see there's an external port and a NAS port. So are those going to be the same pretty much?
So you can keep the same, but in case if you have multiple devices or that port is not available externally, because again, let's say for example, you have two QNAP devices that are using both 8080, you can either change the port on the QNAP, or you can use a different external port, but you can keep the internal port same. So I can change the external port 8090 and keep the internal port. So you can have multiple devices because you cannot have same port for two different devices for remote access. Okay.
Okay, and you can add ports that aren't on the list as well, correct?
Yes, so you can click on add NAS service, and then you can choose a service name, put in port number that you wanted to open, and then you can choose a protocol, and then click on OK, and this service will open the port inside the router without you having to log in at all inside the router. Okay, so that's another great feature on the NAS. Also, one more feature that we provide is DDNS service. DDNS is, again, this will allow you to, because when you want to access your NAS remotely, you have to remember your public IP address. This can get really difficult, especially when you're not at the location. Also, depending upon your service provider, this may change every few hours, every few days. So it can get really, so if it changes and you're not at the location, you don't know what your public IP address is, and you lose access to your device. For this particular scenario, we've given a service called DDNS, where you can give a name to a unique name, and then just type that .myqnapcloud.com, and it will take you to your NAS. And this will keep updating in the background. So even if your IP address changes, this link will always keep the updated IP address, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And so because you're accessing your device remotely, we do recommend like encryption. So we do provide SSL certification. So to purchase SSL, just go to myqnapcloud.com and then just sign in with your account. And once you signed in, you can click on SSL certificate. You can buy. Currently, it's we have a 3-year license for $44.99, and then you get 2 extra months for free. This is for 3 years plus 2 months extra. Okay, and you can, once you purchase the certificate, like I've done here, you can go back to your NAS, click on SSL, and click on download and install. I already have it installed, so it says active, and you can see right here my connection is secure. And this is this computer, the connection going from this computer to the NAS is secure. So this is how I'm able to access my NAS remotely. You can open a file station. You can quickly access your data. You can share your data across. You can download data. You can share your data. You can upload data to here. You can so sharing. You can share it as an email link to another email user. You can post it to your social media. You can create a share link, or you can also provide it to another user. I'm going to give an example of share link. You can if you have SSL, you can check the box. So this link is also secured when you're giving it to other users. You can also allow file upload to the user, so they can upload data to this as well. You can also expire the link at a certain given time if you want to do that. And also you can password protect the link as well. So when they access the link, they have to provide a password before they can access the data. And also for IT administrator, they can quickly make some changes to the NAS because you have access to the whole web interface. You can provide permissions to your NAS. You can also, if you have virtual machines running on the device, you can also like open the virtualization station and quickly access your virtual machines, even when you're not at the same location. All right, and you can also access this via your iPhone or Android app using QFile application. So let's say if you're not at the computer, let's say if you're sitting on a couch or sitting where you don't have access to your computer, but you do have access to your phone, you can open up a QFile application, quickly access the data. You can even share it with QFile application. So this is how easy it is to access your device remotely. So Cody, back to you.
Yeah, all right. And just again, so basically this makes it as simple as just accessing a website, brings them to the login page, and there is no there's no subscription fee or anything. It's a one-time purchase, right?
Exactly.
All right. And sorry, I was a little unclear when I mentioned the trivia. So when you answer the question will be in the questions comment, just put true or false, and that will be where we look for the correct answer. So with that, I'm going to post the question. So my DDNS enables you to give your QNAP NAS a domain name, true or false. True. Looks like Thomas Ware is our winner for that. So we'll just email you, then we'll get your info to send that out to you. So going on to the next section, looking at the VPN access. So looking at the next section with VPN access, pretty much what if one of your team members needs to access the network remotely, or a device or a server? How do you get into the network? So with VPN access, you can actually have an encrypted connection to the network. So it's as if you're in the network. So you'll be able to access any devices on the network as if you're there, even when you're at home. And additionally, if you are traveling in an airport, in a coffee shop, obviously that's not going to be right now, but under regular circumstances, sometimes you might want to access a Wi-Fi network, and you can have a more secure connection going through the VPN access. So with that, I'm going to give it to Deval, and he's going to demo for us how we can do this.
Unlike myQNAPcloud that allows you to access a device remotely via a browser or a phone app like QFile, QVPN service provided by QNAP, it allows you to create a VPN server inside your NAS. So people that are not at the same location can remotely access your device virtually, or it can be so the computers can virtually be on the same network as your NAS is. So you can keep working on your projects or on your data even when you're not at the same location. So you can use services like Samba or AFP or as if you're on the same location even when you're not at the same location. Okay, to set up a QVPN, it's an additional app that you have to download and install via App Center. You have to click on App Center and then look for QVPN. So once you have this, I have already installed the application. If not, there'll be an install button right here. Just click on install, and then we're going to click on open. All right. So this is a screenshot of how the QVPN service looks like. Currently, we support servers like QPelt, which is our own QVPN server. You can create on the QNAP device. You can set up PPTP. You can set up LTTP IPsec. And also you can set up OpenVPN. Okay.
So why did we decide to create our own VPN protocol for QBelt?
QBelt is our own VPN service. It uses secure encrypted connection with TTLS plus SSL, and also uses AES 256-bit encryption. So it's really hard to hack in or snoop into the connection when using QBelt. And for this webinar, we're going to be concentrating on QBelt service. Okay, and it's very easy to use QBelt as well, because with other services you have to use Windows or Mac QNAP applications or built-in QVPN applications that you have to set up QVPN client on. But with QBelt, we provide the application for you. So let's look at QBelt. To enable QBelt, you have to enable the box, checkbox here, set up the port, and you can use auto router configuration to open the port for you. You have to provide a pre-shared key. So it's two types of authentication. You have to have a pre-shared key, and also you have to provide the username and password of your NAS to the client, so they can connect with pre-shared key and with their username and password. Without one or the other, they cannot connect. So if they only have the pre-shared key, they cannot connect. If they only have the username, password, and no pre-shared key, they cannot connect. Okay, we have applications called QVPN for Windows and Mac right now, and then for Android we have and iOS we have QVPN applications as well for the phones as well. So you can have your phones also virtually on the same network. For IT administrator, you can also check the privilege box where you can tell them because you can use multiple servers on the QNAP as well. You can say which server, which user can use which server or which. So if I check QBelt for myself, I won't be able to access QBelt service with QVPN. Also with online users, it will show you who is online and how much data are they using and what protocol they're using. Under actions, you can also disconnect them. I'm going to quickly show you that right now. And on connection logs, it's going to show you who's connecting at what time and how much data were they using and what time they logged out. Okay, so this gives you a basic auditing feature inside your NAS. All right, so let's get started. So for QB, go ahead.
You can pretty much track all of your employees' access to the network with that connection.
Exactly. That's correct. All right, so with QVPN, I already have it installed, so I'm not going to show you the installation, but for QVPN, just type QVPN on the start or on Mac as well. Just search from the Finder window. And then right here, I have it QVPN. So right here, I have it installed. I have added my NAS, but I'm going to show you how to quickly add a NAS. You can also import it via myQNAPcloud account if you have myQNAPcloud. Also, you can, if you're on the same network, you can discover that. So it will find it for you, all the different devices on the network. You can also add it manually. Just put in the profile name, which could be anything, your DDNS or public IP address, your username and password. And if you have SSL, just check the SSL box under advanced. If you're using some other ports, you have to check that box. And then the type of service. QVPN also has access to other protocols if you don't want to use QBelt. Okay, so once you enter that information, click save. So I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to connect right now.
All right, and there's no licensing fee for this or anything like for any of the protocols, right?
No, there is no licensing fee for any of the protocols. There's no licensing fee for using QVPN server. The application is free. The QVPN application for all the computers and phones are free, and having multiple users online is also free. Okay, so there's no subscription-based services at all required for using QVPN. Okay, so this is going to give you a basic overview of who's online right now. And so I'm sorry, this map shows you where you're connecting from and where the server is located. Okay, and then going back to auditing feature on the online users, this is where I'm going to show you I'm connected, and I can disconnect users from here as well. Okay, so as I was mentioning, this computer is virtually on the same network as the NAS, so I can actually just access the NAS directly via my local IP address. So if I go to 10.15.10.20, which is my NAS's IP address, I can access my device directly with the local IP address, even when I'm not at the same location. Okay. Oh, I think I'm having some issues with the account. Let me try a different account. There you go. I can access my device even when I'm not on the same location. I can also, the main feature is not remote access. Basically, it's to access via Samba protocols, right? Or local access protocols. So I can just type run command and just type my local IP address, and I can access via Samba services directly. I can access all the data as well, copy paste. I can work on presentation slides, or I can do whatever I like to do. If I have any video editing software, photo editing software that requires AFP or SMB connection, I can access that as well. QVPN also allows you to access other devices that are not on the so you can so for IT administrative, if they want to access the router which is located on the remote network, I can access my router as well, which is again my home router. This is not my work router. This is my home router. I can access other devices on that remote network as well. So if you have any computers running and you want to remote RDP into those computers, you can also do that as well with the QVPN service. Okay, this is how easy it is to access your device via QVPN. I'm going to disconnect QVPN, so I'm back on the remote network.
So if you just put in a local IP address to that network, you can connect to it as if you're on the network pretty much.
Exactly.
And we will get into the next trivia question. All right, so the next question is, one benefit of using your QNAP NAS as a VPN server is that it enables you to access the network remotely. True or false? Man, we got a ton of them. I got to get to the first one. We have Kareem Ture. And all right, so getting into the next section, how can your team continue to effectively work together when they're in remote locations from each other? If they need to share large files, what's the best way for them to do that? Some files may be difficult to attach in an email because they might be too large. So how does your team stay on the same page with constant access to the files they need on a particular project? For these issues, we're going to be demoing QNAP's shared folder synchronization software, Qsync. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to Deval, and he's going to demo Qsync for us.
All right, so we talked about remote access, and we talked about QVPN that allows you to remotely access your device. But Qsync is a different application. It's like it's a Dropbox-like file sync solution from QNAP. Qsync enables efficient file synchronization between a QNAP device, a QNAP NAS, and a linked device such as a computer, laptop, and mobile devices. So you can have a synchronization going between those devices. Business users can access most recent files in the shared folder at any time from a wide variety of devices, greatly enhancing teamwork and collaboration. So with other services that we talked about, like QNAP or like QVPN and remote access, they can get you access to your data that is stored on the NAS. What if you want to have a sync going on the computer, like how Dropbox is? So you have a folder inside your computer that is always synced with the Dropbox servers, right? Qsync is a solution for that. Qsync allows you to install the folder inside your computer that will be kept in sync with your NAS as long as the NAS has an internet connection or the computer has an internet connection. Okay, so to install Qsync, again, you have to visit App Center and then look for Qsync. Okay, I have already installed the application, so just click install. If not, I'm going to open the application. The Qsync Central application will open up. This gives you a brief example of your total usage of the NAS, how many devices are online, how many users are online. Okay, from here you can download applications for the clients as well, because you need a Qsync software installed on your computers. We have Windows, Mac. We also have Ubuntu, but currently it's not available through this application. It'll be updated soon. But to download it, just click on Utilities from the bottom page, and then you can download Ubuntu application for Qsync directly from here as well.
So basically, you're going to have the app running on your NAS, and then you're also going to download a client software for whatever workstation each individual employee is using.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then you can also access the applications directly. So Qsync data from your application, from your phone application called QFile. Okay, and let's say if you don't have access to any of your Qsync application, you don't have access to your computer, you don't have access to your phone, but you do have access to another shared computer, like your friend's computer or any other computer but you still want to access your data. You can just go to your myQNAPcloud remote access, just open a file station, and then look for Qsync. Okay, it will take you to your Qsync data. You can also upload data here, and it'll come directly to my computer. where the Qsync is installed. So there's a multi-way to access your Qsync device. All right. So here, I'm going to go through some of the features here. So we can get this going. So management settings is just how the Qsync is installed. You can either have each user configure their own Qsync application, or you can centrally install applications using central management configuration. For users, it's going to show you how many users are currently using QSAP, how many users online, and how many devices are they using. Remember, each user can have multiple Qsync devices. Like they can have, for myself, right? I have like almost 7 devices. That could be my home computer, my work computer, my laptops, my other test computers, my phones. They all can be devices. I can use the same username and password for all those devices, and all those computers will have the same exact data, provided that I use all the data as well. Okay, I'm going to show you the difference.
To the number of devices you can have?
There's no limit to number of devices, just based on the processing power of your computer, that how many devices it can handle. Even our lower end processing that NAS should be able to handle 10 to 20 users. Higher end processor can go up to higher, 50 to 100 users. So yeah, again, depending on how many devices, computer processing power. Okay, and then going further on, devices. Here you can see how many devices are online. Are they connected right now? You can stop synchronization if you want to, if because it uses your actual your bandwidth. If the bandwidth is getting used up by a lot of devices Qsync is using, you can pause the synchronization. It will block the devices for amount of time you pause it to, and you can resume that again. And then you can also remotely erase the devices in case if you don't have access to your device, and or you lost the device, you can remotely erase it. So once the Qsync is online, it'll remotely erase that device. For IT administrator, you can also go event log, and it will show you like what user and what device is doing what on the computer. Is it deleting data, or what exactly is it doing right now? Okay. And then there's another collaboration feature called team folder, where you can actually have a particular folder inside the NAS, and you can share it with other users. So every user will get access to that particular folder, and they can work on it together. So if user A uploads the data to the team folder, user A, B, C, D, or how many users are online will get access to that data immediately. So you can say which user has access to this team folder. Once you click OK, they will get pop-up on their Qsync saying that you get access to the team folder, you want to allow it, and then once they accept it, this folder will be inside that Qsync folder. Okay. You can also have, go ahead.
So what are some applications that people might use these sync jobs for?
So for team folder, basically, so applications like, for team folder, basically, if you want to have collaborative environment going on, right? Without having team folder, let's say if you want to send a document to your colleagues or to your manager, right? You have to keep emailing the document to your manager, to your colleagues. And if you keep updating the documents, you have to keep emailing the new documents to your colleague or to your manager, right? And then for the manager and the colleague who's receiving that files, it gets really hard to keep track of which file is updated file, which file is like, where is the updated file, or which version of what file it is, right? So with team folder, you just have to upload that one single file inside the team folder, and your manager or colleague automatically gets access to that particular file. And then if you open that file, update with new data and save it, as soon as you save it, the Qsync will sync that data into the other computers, where your manager's computer or your colleague's computer. So they always get access to the data you share. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And then with version control, you can have different versions of your particular file inside your folder. So if you keep updating the file, there'll be versions saved of every file you save on your Qsync folder. Okay?
So like if you have a lot of people accessing the files and things, I could see it could be easy for someone to accidentally delete a file or accidentally alter a file, but you can use this to bring back the file to the state you want it in, pretty much.
Exactly. So you can restore the deleted file using Qsync data. or with version control. Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so before we move on, so once you install the application, I've already have it installed, so it's going to be showing up right here. As if it has a green checkbox, that means it's synced. Has a blue checkbox, that means it's synchronizing right now. So let me open the application. So this screenshot will give you like whatever what was the last folders you what last data that you tried to upload to your Qsync. Okay. So here it's going to show you the link status on the computer. It's going to show you a quota of how much you're using and how much data is available. And then with sharing center, it's going to, if you have team photos, you can disconnect yourself from here, or you can edit the document, edit how many users. If you're admin account, you can also add more people here as well. Okay. And then if you have this, you can, because you can share data directly from Qsync. For example, let me open up my Qsync folder. Let's say if I want to share this particular file, I can just right click on it, Qsync, and share it as a link. So once I share it as a link, you can either email it to somebody, or you can just copy this link and then share it with somebody. It will show up here under sharing center, and I can just cancel that particular share. See, and I can delete the share. So if the user has finished with the document, I can just delete it, and this file will no longer be shared again. Okay, this helps with Qsync. And going back to the Qsync folder. All right, so let's say if I want to upload this document, right? So I can just copy and paste here. It will go upload. It will it's already uploaded. It's already done uploading that document. So if I go into my computer and if I open up File Station, and if I refresh this, see this file is already there on my Qsync, on my NAS. Okay, so this is a great feature with Qsync. Okay, and then actually that is it. And with versioning, let me show you what versions it is before we move on. So when you right click and go to previous version, you can have different versions. You can either restore a previous version, or that will replace the original file, or you can download it so you can keep the current version, but you can also have access to the older version of that particular document on your computer. Okay, so that's another feature. Also, another feature, let's say if you deleted a document, you can click on Show Deleted Data. And then if I want to restore this document, I can just click on Previous Version. I can restore that particular document, even when the file is actually deleted on the Qsync. That's another great feature.
Okay, and also if you're clearing space on your device, you can set it so that it won't delete from the shared folder, right?
Exactly. So let's say because remember, with Qsync, the data is stored on the computer as well as on the NAS. So what happens is that it's using your local hard drive as space as well. With Qsync, you have two ways to overcome that particular scenario. Either you can use something called settings. Under settings, there's an option called do not remove any files on NAS during synchronization. You can check this box. If you delete any data on the computer, that data will still remain safe inside your Qsync folder. So there's another way. So you can delete files on the computer to save more space on the computer, but you can keep those documents on the Qsync for future use. Also, you can do something called selective sync. So selective sync allows you to select which folder would I want to sync on this particular computer. Let's say if you have multiple folders that you have sync between, right? You have a folder with a lot of data, you have folder with just small data, and you don't want to use the laptops, or let's say if you have a laptop with a small hard drive, you don't want to use up all the space just for Qsync, right? So I can uncheck, let's say on my example here, I can uncheck important documents. So whatever data is inside important documents will not be synced on this particular computer, but my team folder and my receipts folder will be kept in sync with my Qsync data. Also here, you can also do something called, let's say because Qsync creates a folder inside this particular location, right? Users, the username, and there's a folder called Qsync. But you can also add another folder inside your Qsync to add inside the computer to add. So I can actually add another folder on my computer. So I can add my musics folder, I can add pictures folder, I can add a lot of other folders that I want to kept in sync other than the Qsync folder. But to use this feature, you have to have shared folder syncs because so going back to Qsync right here, because the Qsync folder is saved by its own separate folder inside your NAS, and it's a hidden folder inside your NAS. But to have other folders on the computer to be synced, you have to provide them access to another folder on your NAS. So I have all these folders, right? Downloads folders, FTP folder. If I check the box, and then click on apply, so now FTP folder can be used as a Qsync folder inside my computer.
There's no sign up fees, subscription fees, file size limits, user limits, anything like that, right?
No, there's no subscription fee available or subscription fee for the Qsync to be used. Also, all the applications are free to use as well. So if I refresh now, FTP is also another folder that I can use for Qsync. So I can add another folder that I can, and then I also add another folder here, my save pictures. I can add multiple folders, and these all folders on my computer will now be synced as a Qsync folder. So whatever data I upload on my camera rolls will be uploaded to FTP folder. Whatever information I have saved on the saved pictures will be uploaded to downloads folder. So you can have this. The only drawback of having this is you cannot use versioning. Version is only available on the built-in folder for Qsync. You cannot have versioning on this other folders.
All right. So we'll get into the final. We're going to get into the final trivia question. Qsync requires a licensing fee per user, true or false? We have a lot of answers, sorry. Stefana Huang. So Stefana Huang, we will be emailing you for your info. And so with that, we'll get into some of the questions now.
So somebody had a question. Does every person who wants to access my QNAP Cloud, do they need my QNAP Cloud account? Actually, no. You don't need. So if you open ports in your router, you can just give them access to this particular link, and they can access data directly on their computer. The only thing you need is a local account on the NAS. So under my users, I have all these accounts, right? So if I give access to this link, and if I log out, they can get to the login page, and I can use they can use their own account to log into QNAP. You don't need to have my QNAP Cloud account for each of the users, provided you open the ports on the router. If you cannot open the ports and you use my QNAP Cloud link, then you need to give them access. You need to have them create their own QNAP my QNAP Cloud account. My QNAP Cloud link, just to give you a brief overview, is a relay server in between the computer and the QNAP that allows that when you access the data, the data goes through our servers to that particular computer. Okay, so that's how my QNAP Cloud link works. Somebody had a question if this particular session will be online. Yes, we'll be posting this online.
And feel free to reach out to us as well at usasales@qnap.com if we didn't get to your question, or if you had any questions about purchasing a NAS or anything like that, and we will be sending follow-ups as well.
Somebody had a question about OpenVPN client. You can set up OpenVPN server on the QNAP, as well as you can set up your own OpenVPN client, or you can use QVPN client to be used with the QVPN. Okay, and another great question somebody asked is that can you, actually multiple questions is about having VPN server. Can I use your own VPN server on the NAS? So, sorry, the VPN, can you use your company's VPN server? So you can have your QNAP also join to another VPN service provider, right? So let me share my screen again. So let's say if you have your own VPN server and you want the QNAP to be a part of that VPN, so you can just go to the QVPN application. I think I have it here installed right here. And then QVPN can also be a client as well. So I can click on here, add a VPN server. So I can add, if you have a company VPN, if your company is using LTTP, I can set up that profile name, server address of your company, your username, password the company provides, and once I click on create, this particular NAS will be part of that particular VPN server. So this QNAP will be a part of that VPN client. So it'll be a client of that VPN server. All right, so that's another question. Another question is, can QBEL used with iOS and Android? Yes, it can be used with iOS and Android applications as well.
Yeah, and if people are thinking about using a public cloud versus say QNAP, what are some of the advantages to QNAP or versus public cloud, that type of thing?
Okay, so with public cloud, basically there's a subscription fee, right? Dropbox or OneDrive, they charge you subscription fees. For example, Dropbox gives you 2 gigabytes of free, but then if you want to have more data, you have to pay monthly subscription or yearly subscription fee. And for multi-terabyte data, it really adds up. And then, for example, if you stop paying for it, or if you decide you want to cancel the service, you have to quickly download that data, and then you no longer have access to that particular space. With QNAP, because hard drives are a lot cheaper these days, you can have multi-terabyte Qsync or a cloud server at your fingertips, right? You just have to buy the initial cost of buying a NAS and a few hard drives, and then you can have a 2, 4, 6 terabyte or even 16 terabyte cloud server at your fingertips. So that's another great advantage. And then all these applications are free to use. With QNAP, with Dropbox, you're only getting a sync solution, right? With QNAP, you can actually, we talked about myQNAPcloud, QVPN, and Qsync, right? All these can be set up on a single NAS, so you don't need to purchase different NAS for different services. You can have multiple devices to be used. We can have multiple services to be used with single QNAP NAS. You can have the same NAS used as a VPN server, the same NAS used as a cloud service provider, and then the same NAS can be used as Qsync server as well. And before we move on, there's another question saying that can you use this Qsync between QNAP over a VPN? So yeah, so you can set up a VPN here. So basically the question is that, can you sync between 2 QNAP devices over VPN? So yes, so you can set up QVPN as a server on one of the NAS and QVPN on the other NAS as a client. Once you join them, you can use hybrid backup sync to back up between both devices, and they will use your VPN service as well. So that's how you can do sync between 2 devices over VPN.
I see Robert's asking about a transfer speed with QVPN versus QLink.
Okay, so myQNAPcloud link. So I think he's talking about myQNAPcloud link, I think. So
right.
myQNAPcloud link, because it's a relay server, the data will be a lot slower. There's no estimate we can provide because it depends on how much traffic there is, how many users are online that is using this service. And with QVPN service, there's a little bit overhead, about 10 to 20% overhead for using a secure connection. So maybe let's say 20 to 30% of overhead that you're going to be facing. So depending upon your upload and download speed of your location, you have to calculate 20 to 30% overhead. So about 70% speed you should be getting when using QVPN service compared to your regular internet service provider speed.
All right.
And there's another question: will the version control app work with applications such as AutoCAD? So each version that depends upon the applications. But if they say there should be, yes, it should work with other applications as well with version control, but only on the Qsync folder.
Did we want to hit any more questions right now?
Yeah, we have a few of them. So can you purge deleted files? So yes, you can purge deleted files as well via Qsync on the Qsync. And then there's one more question I want to answer, is that is a device configurable per devices? So yes, with Qsync you can have laptop have different settings for each sync job, and then a desktop can also have different. So you can use selective sync on your desktop with different folders. You can use selective sync on your laptop with different folders.
All right. So if we didn't get to any questions, we'll be looking over them, and also feel free to email us as well. And also, we will be posting this online if you want to review any of the demos or anything like that. And a big congratulations to all of our winners, and we want to give a big thank you to Seagate as well for providing some of the drives that we're giving out. And yeah, so until then, we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much again, everybody.